Episode 7 Love Was Not the Language. How is everyone today? Happy full moon, April 1st.
Tuesday.
That's right. Happy April Fools on a full moon day. I guess. Oh my goodness. It's a wonderful, wonderful time. Wonderful time. Blessings all around for sure. And I'm super, super excited because I see three of my four sisters on the line. And I'm hoping that we will have Monica join us at one point once we figure out Zoom on her phone. Okay, let me just check. Let's see. You cannot mean my okay. Hmm. I was trying to. Yay. So let me just kick off real quick because this is really um welcome everyone to the launch of episode 7, Love Was Not the Language. I am super excited. I have Borloyd Dayton, who is the guest featured in episode 7 on the line with us. So Rupe, please say hi.
Hi, everyone.
I am also excited that we have Molly, who was in episode, I believe it was episode 3, being the good daughter, and Noonie Thibodeau, who is in episode 1, and she was part of the inaugural launch of Rooted and Becoming. So thank you so much, my sisters, for being online today to support Bupe. So I'm super excited. Today is marks the week leading into the Lao New Year, which we're going to be celebrating together. I cannot wait for that. And the launch of episode 7, and we are celebrating it and launching it on this full moon, which I always love to do, and because it's about, for me, it's about the full moon's about releasing what no longer serves us. And I love the whole phases of the moon, and I know it affects me. And so it's one of the things that I wanted to do was align the discussion and the release of the recordings for Rooted and Becoming along the moon phases. And so for today's topic, love was not the language. We really talk about being sort of from the perspective of being a daughter of an immigrant and refugee. And, Bube talks about it wasn't always spoken, right? In I love yous, and it wasn't always shown in the way that you might expect. Um, and it's not always recognized, but for sure, we feel the love. And so it was really nice to just reflect on what love did look like in our lives as refugees here in the US. And so I encourage everyone to to go and watch it. If you haven't watched it, super excited, is out today. And yeah, really embrace the topic, because I think the idea of love is not the language. I want to believe that it resonates with a lot of us. And so, because I think oftentimes, we grew up in environments where we have different love languages, right? And so love can show up differently for each of us, and that plays out in our family dynamics and our relationships with loved ones, and then it sort of shows up also later in our lives, because it impacts our beliefs in what love is. And I'm just so grateful, Bupe, for you to share your stories. And I just maybe just want to take a step back and ask you to just share your thoughts on the episode, as well, and what you took away from the interview.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me. I think for me, it's the language of love. It's a journey, and it changes all the time. And so, I mean, I didn't learn that until really till towards the end of my senior year in college. And so, and I'm not perfect in terms of like my thought of what love is, right? Because love is different for everyone. And so so there's that. And then in terms of coming from a refugee family, there's I can't deny that mom and dad, that I can't say they never love me, because they do, right? But it's their way of showing that love, and how I'm going to interpret it, and then how I have taught my kids, at least hope to teach them how to love themselves, right? And to love how to treat others. And it's an everyday, I guess I have to work at it every day, being married, because I choose, Brian and we chose to love each other, and that's why we chose to get married, right? We chose each other. And so you have to choose to love that person every day.
Yeah.
And it's not perfect every day, but I choose to do that. And so love is also it's a choice as well.
Yeah.
So, right, you have the choice to love or not to love, and then how you're going to continue that or stop it. But I just hope that you remember to love yourself, because before you can love anybody else, right, you need to be able to love yourself and kind of look at yourself. And so, and that also comes from the counseling background. Yeah. Because before I can help anyone else, I need to be able to look at my own mask, and see who I am before I can help somebody else. Kind of like on the airplane, they tell you to put the mask on yourself before you can put it on a child, right? Or help somebody else. So
true.
Yeah.
I love it. It's so true. And I think we don't, and I don't know if others relate to this, but growing up, I feel like we're not taught to focus inward and taught how to love yourself. Like I feel like that would be a really powerful sort of ideology if every family, if we taught our kids to put ourselves first, because we always say, be good to others, be kind to others, but like you need to also feed your soul and love yourself, right? Like you said, you need to be able to love yourself before you love others. And it would be nice to have had that in my upbringing. We're just so used to hustling and just doing for others. Like you do have to understand your mass, your what you are and who you are. And I think we end up um, learning more about who we are and what we like and don't later in life. And wouldn't it be amazing if we had that earlier in our development, you know?
Yeah, like putting yourself first. And by the way, hi, I'm Kiara. I
Hi,
haven't seen the
Kiara.
episode, but I've seen a little snippet of it. And I love the fact that you met each other at a bookstore. And so just to share, I just came from a wedding. One of the first kids in our, like friend play group, he's 23. I think it's still young, but love finds it when it finds it. But yeah, talking about love, it's weird because now that I'm interested in just watching the whole thing, growing up in an Asian Filipino household, love is almost transactional. Like you do something good, ooh, you're great, I love you. So more in this generation, and I think more so on our kids' generation, which I hope they're 23 and 21 now. It's pushing yourself to know yourself first before, there is such a good thing as, a love at service of others. But like, yeah, loving yourself is it's a more accepted way of doing it now. Even I'm sure, well, not sure as I say it right, but like in the college setting, my daughter actually is 21 and she's able to tell other people no if they want to go out to party or if they want to have some of her time. She looks at her time as her sacred time. And for a fact that I didn't really get it until what, 5 years going into, decades and decades, right? So it's quite relieving and freeing.
Yeah, thanks for sharing.
Thanks for sharing that. Yeah, no, it is interesting to see the different generations where I feel like the generation now, um, mental health is recognized as very um standard. Like we should, it should be part of how we look at wellness, and that wasn't a thing for the Generation X. It's the idea of like having feelings and it was very, you were dismissed quite often. But it's good to see that we're normalizing mental health and it's so important.
I guess new generation is different. I can see it. There's no way I can survive how the way they're thinking. So I'm old school. I'm really grateful for my husband thinking the same way I do. There's no way I can date right now because it's different. You know what I mean? You have technology. I don't know. It's different than when I grew up. You know,
Mm,
it would be hard for me to date if I had to do it now. The way I see other doing things, yeah, is you know.
yeah, no, and I can definitely appreciate that. I think with anything, it's it's always it's always hard to there's a lot of change, right? Like the one constant that you can always expect is change. and and we with technology, with everything, and even with how we approach dating, for sure. They didn't have all those dating apps back in our days, right? Where we used to go to the library just to like check out a book. And I mean, things were just very different. Data and information was very limited. Um, so it can be quite overwhelming just to being in this new
Well,
space. I think the
my
new
era is like
yeah.
you go to library, bookstore, even up to the bar or like church or temple or through friends, school, and that's it. There's no dating app.
Mhm, mhm. Yeah, for sure. But you definitely cast your net wider. And if you hear all these success stories with folks, you know, doing so, and you know, matchmaking and all this other stuff. It's all technology has transformed all of that for sure. For sure. We're not like in places they're, you know, they're where you're limited to just like your little town, right? Like now it's across the world or across the country in some cases, right? Um,
But
but
what I found interesting though, I think we're going back to the non-app. I mean, I've seen a lot of events where, people meet, like let's go meet at, I think I read somewhere like in Trader Joe's in San Francisco, where somebody started like, oh, let's all meet up. And people just want to have that connection.
yeah,
And part of that too, and I know, can you say your name? Is it Boaloy?
Yeah.
Okay.
Um,
So you probably see a lot of it in college, right? That there's a lot higher anxiety, but I think a lot of times kids nowadays are trying to veer away from, the dating apps. I'm not sure if that's, throughout college, but for sure, I've seen a lot of my friends' kids saying, no, I'm just gonna go rock climb. I'm gonna go do something, activity where I meet people face to face. That wasn't really helped with the pandemic where people just crawled in their shell and then that became the norm, of just staying at home. So what do you think you see now in the college setting? I mean, are kids still high on anxiety? I mean, I just tell, my kids, everybody has anxiety, some sort of form or the other. It's just a given.
I think it's going to depend on the individual again, right? I mean, people that are introvert or extrovert, it's really going to depend on what they like. I think it's also going to depend on their age. So if they are a younger student, between 18 and 25, 26, and then those that are older, maybe, because right, they were there during the pandemic. But I think they're still meet friends and meet people in their social group. So I think that's still a lot of where that's at. And so as they get older, though, it depends on, right, the opportunities if they have opportunities to meet other individuals or not, or unless they're doing, you know, scheduled kind of like speed dating, right? Versus an app, not an app, but more interactive networking. So I think it's going to depend on the individual. Sorry, I didn't really answer your question.
But no problem. I'm just fishing for, a lot
Yeah.
more feedback and information because as with, like with Malai said, I wouldn't want to be dating in this day and age.
Yes.
I
No,
mean, I shouldn't say I don't want to, but
yeah.
it will be a different challenge for sure. I'm not, tech savvy and all these other things. But I
mm,
just want to say hi to Michael. He's listening in. Would love to hear from him and all this good stuff.
yeah. I did invite our Michael Jules, who is a director of AGM, and that is one of the nonprofits that our Goldtree Co, Rooted in Becoming, we support AGM and the mission to empower our foster youth community. So welcome, Michael. Yeah. But going back to, yeah, love was not the language. I mean, it's interesting to see. I don't know if you want to, if folks feel comfortable just in terms of what your love language is, because we have what is it, the 5 love languages. The acts of service, I believe. We have food. I like that. Yeah, what is it? We have some of you who know it probably off the top. Well, we got acts of service, is it affirmation, spending quality time. What is it? There's 2 more. that I am missing. Does anybody
Touch.
touch?
Touch. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, thank you, Michael.
How could you
Me-
forget that one? How could you forget that one?
I there's another one. There's five, right? There was another one.
Receiving gifts.
And
Receiving gifts.
receiving
Receiving
gifts.
gifts.
I think when I took that test, I was kind of like across almost evenly across them all, but I think acts of service was definitely high up in there, but they're all fairly split evenly. But yeah. Anyhow, was there, I don't know if anybody wants to share in terms of growing up, if love was not the language in your household, what was? And how has that changed how you know are today and how you are trying to create that space of love for
Well,
yourself?
I like to comment on that. In my household, in my generation, love was displayed in a different way. My mom did not use the words "I love you," but there were many ways in her action that she showed her love. So I think when we say, how was love in our household, I think a better question for me would be, how was love displayed? How was it conveyed? And how did it make you feel? Because everyone has a different way of expressing their love, especially to their children. And my mother's generation, coming from Louisiana, saying I love you to your children just wasn't it. My mom didn't start saying that until probably I was in my 40s. However, her actions showed so much that she didn't have to say those three words.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that, and definitely a great reminder. Great question. Anybody else want to share how was love displayed?
I was sharing on the chat, it's through food,
Through
because it does take time, effort, and energy. And so I remember, like my grandma would ask, each kid every other day, everybody gets to choose what, dinner or lunch was, and then she'd prepare it. And so that's how love was shown. It's, if they ask me, what is your favorite food? And then she'll make it. And so that was how it was.
Absolutely. And I could definitely relate to that. Um, I grew up with my mom cooking and the smell of food, when you walk in the house, and um I I don't recall ever being hungry, like, or starving. I mean, and I think that's a blessing, because I know a lot of families, that's that's a real realization for them. And so food is definitely was something that I experienced. I don't know if
May
my
I say
siblings.
something?
Molly.
I'm a little different. I guess I'm a little different than everybody. What Michael says, I kind of practice that early, in early life, where action, you don't have to say I love you, but what you do, it's kind of like signal. But as I get older, then I learn to say I love you to my husband. Now I'm, close to my 60s, so we change a little bit. It's a little different. Um, I guess I'm old school, so I'm changed a little bit.
And a lot of it is upbringing, right? And what you experience in your childhood really impacts how that shows up in your life. Yeah. Noonie, is there anything you want to add to it? I know just from knowing you that food is a really big component. Because
Yeah, yeah, food is a big
chef
component. Yes.
and baker. You're always
Food,
sending pictures of food to the families.
that's right. I always make new stuff. Like if we don't have a bag of chips, I'll be making chips at home. Yeah, it's nice to be able to make food for others because that's what I enjoy doing. So they know that um, that they're getting not only tasty food but the love from me because it's new beginnings and just a new journey of introducing them to new foods, and they seem to love it. But I think the most important thing that I take now from the old generation and the new generation is hugs. Every time we see somebody, we hug them to say hello, and then we also hug them to say goodbye, and they know that's our way of saying we love them. Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. So I like that. I don't think we used to do that a lot, but I think I've seen that happen. When we see grandma and everybody else, we always give them hugs. So that's our way of saying we love you.
Oh, I love that. Well, big hugs to you, and I look forward to giving you a hug very soon because I'm excited that you're actually visiting us this week in San Diego. Um, Maybe if I can ask Michael, since we have him, um, speaking from the lens of the foster youth and AGM, when we think about that love was not the language, and what can we what could you add with regards to foster youth and on this topic that you think would just be helpful in illuminating the work that AGM is doing to support the community?
So I'm just trying to get a little more clarification on the question. Can you help me out? I want to say that you're trying to relate it to how the foster youth and AGM would perceive love. Did I get that right?
Yeah, when I think about the foster youth and just in our conversation now about how love was just displayed and with the words "I love you" may not be may not have been very in the literal sense, but there was definitely different ways of expressing love um, in our household. But from the standpoint of the foster community, how 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 does this topic, do you think, come across for foster youth, and how can we um, encourage others to support the cause, I guess is what I with regards to love. I imagine that the foster youth having instability really impacts this idea of the way love is expressed in their lives, right?
Right. And I think for this particular population,
Mhm.
foster youth population, number one way to express your love or care for them is consistency. They
Mhm.
do not have consistency in their lives.
Mhm.
If consistency is displayed to them, that's like telling them you love them 1,000 times
Mhm.
because they don't have consistency. Just last Saturday, one of the youth was crying on my shoulder because he's so tired of being let down from being moved to one placement to another, or to not have someone that believes in him. And he's not knowing that the way, because he feels so strongly about that, is because he doesn't believe in himself. So that's where we, as people who are like-minded, like-hearted, that would like to, be a part of this particular population, that's the number one thing that they could display their love, is helping the person know that they're valuable, and that people can be consistent in their life as long as they understand that they're valuable. So I hope that I answered the question. And what's very
Yes.
interesting, if I can elaborate without taking too much time, is that a lot of things that this population needs is non-tangible. It's not really finances. Of course, we know finances is what we need to run any program, but that's secondary. What's most important for this population is to show up. And a lot of people in their lives have constantly let them down, which lead them to believe they're not worthy to be loved, and they're not worthy to love themselves.
I love that point that you made, and I think that that transcends to all relationships, is that consistency. Consistency in coming home to
I got lost.
like a meal on the table, right? Or consistency showing up to games or whatever it is. I think this idea of
Text message? Right there.
consistency. I'm just gonna try to mute folks. Sorry. Monica, if you can mute your folks, that'd be great. Okay. Yeah, I really love that. Thanks for the reminder, Michael. And I think consistency is definitely up there in my book as well, with a way to display love and support. That's a great reminder. I also just to put a plug in for AGM. I recall reading that you guys are providing to the youth gardening experiences, and it's not just a one time event, but that you're holding gardening activities either monthly, or it's a regular cadence. And could you tell and share what it's about, and how are the youths enjoying it?
I'm so sorry. I'm driving and I went through a bad area. So if that question was for me, I'm so sorry that I missed it.
I was just commenting on that. I read that AGM is providing the foster youth gardening experiences, and being able to get grounding and grounded, being in a real garden. And I just thought if you could share what that is about, and how are the youths enjoying it.
Yes. Thank you for allowing me to show the success that we're having with the garden, and the use of it with the foster youth. For one, as we know, that gardening is very therapeutic. There are chemicals that are released. Research shows that releases stress when you touch the soil and when you touch anything that comes from the ground. And it shows that this research was correct, because there's been a lot of youth that have expressed on how calm they feel to be in the garden, how they could see the importance of Mother Nature. The next thing is also it allows the youth to have a tangible, I call, metaphor of planting a seed and allowing the right soil to help that seed grow, which represents them. They grow from the right soil, which is us, people like us, uh, mentors, business leaders, judges, lawyers, social workers, teachers, anybody that could help out. We're able to uh, provide the right soil and watch the seed grow. And that's what they've been doing since they've been a part of AGM. They have watched themselves grow right in the mirror as well as their plant that's growing in the garden. So it's been very helpful for them to see something that's tangible that grows as well as something that's not tangible, which is their way of thinking, their perspective in life. Because that's at the bottom line is where it all starts, is a person's perspective. And that's what this garden has helped the AGM youth, foster youth, do within this AGM program.
I love that. Oh my goodness. Well, congrats on such a successful program, and we look forward to continuing to support the cause. I know we have gardeners who are on the line. Noonie, my sister, has an amazing garden. My mom is not on the line, but she's been told she's living in a blue zone because the amount of gardening she does. But yes, I completely agree. That's very therapeutic to be out and be grounded in nature. And I love that you were providing that experience for the youth. Uh, if you can hear Nemo, he's saying hi. Um, well, I am truly excited about episode 7. Love was not the language. Thank you so much for folks for dialing in. Again, today it's launched on the full moon, which is a time for us to release what no longer serves us and to just look forward to new beginnings. It's a turning the page, if you will, starting a new chapter. And I hope you continue to listen to Rooted and Becoming, and follow me at Goldtree Co. And make sure you subscribe and look forward to more to come. Episode 8 is becoming visible. So I will definitely have another launch party and I look forward to celebrating that. But for now, thank you so much. Bless you all. For those celebrating Easter, happy Easter, and wishing you all just love and blessings.
Thank you so much. Have a great day, everybody.
Thank you.
guys
Happy
too.
Easter, guys.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye. Please follow and subscribe at Goldtree Co. Stay rooted and becoming and worthy beyond measure.